What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is Dino Day with the Turbo K-Swap Civic Coupe, and also my friend Carlene and Danny Dukes. Their Turbo EG is going to be going to the dyno tonight with us as well. But before we go to the dyno, we got a couple more things we need to do with the Civic Coupe. So the owner came by yesterday. I kind of ran him through the car and kind of, kept him up to date with everything, and he brought the wheel that is missing in the back of the car, so we're going to be swapping that out today. He brought oil and filter so we can change the oil and have some fresh fluid in it. He also just told me that the car is currently on 87 gas, so we have to drain the gas entirely, because when I did the fuel pump it was a full tank. We need to drain the pump to pump some 91 into it, and there's a few other miscellaneous things we need to do with the car to get it ready to drive in about 4 hours. So with that being said, guys, let's get to work. Also, really quickly, I did get some new lenses for my GoPro. I shattered this right before I went to H-Day, and I kind of scratched the lens a little bit while I was out there. Hopefully it doesn't distort the quality too much, but I did spend the last day to kind of clean all the stuff that was piled up right here in my walkway. Everything has a home location now, and in one of those boxes was my brand new tarp I got from Amazon, heavy duty, with a 6-inch ball strap, 20 by 10. I had to put this up because it started raining yesterday, and I don't want to get drenched while working on the car because this back half right here was completely gone. But we have fresh one up here now, and before we dive into the car, I want to give a big shout out to Hunter Tune really quickly, because he shipped out some injectors overnight for me just so I can get them in time for today to tune the car. Now, if you guys don't know, I've been using Hunter Tune injectors on a bunch of projects, and they work really well. They are budget friendly, and they are good for a gang of power depending on the size you are getting from him. So first thing that was in the package when I opened it was this wristband right here, and it says Romans 8:28, all things work together for good to them that love God. I want you guys to go over to Hunter Tune's YouTube channel and show him some love. Inside here we have 2 sets of injectors, and this is for the EKK Turbo Coupe and also the 88 Silver Sedan. So the first set right here is the new mid-grade injectors. They're shorties right here, and Hunter also offers the top hats for them. This is going to be for the 88 Silver Sedan. And then we have the budget 1000cc injectors, which we've used before, and he also threw in the plug and play adapter kit for the harness so we don't hack any wiring. So if you guys are interested in any Hunter Tune injectors or any of his products, I'll put his link in the description below, and I'm sure the discount code is still active while static to save 10% off. Let's go ahead and jack up this car so we can get cracking on. I'm gonna change the oil first. I did warm up the car to heat up the oil a little bit so it drains easier. Oh boy, this thing is dark. And grab some zip ties right here real quick. While the oil is draining, I did notice that the shift cables are pretty close to the downpipe, so kind of want to move it out of the way real quick. I don't know if you guys can see it right there, the cables. The shifter box is mounted under the car, so it brings it really low, and it sits right there on top of the flex pipe. So I got to pull that out of the way. So I have a zip tie on the cable right there, and it's pulled into the car just to hold it up away from the exhaust, because there is like literally no mounting points down here at all. So hopefully that'll work. And I did notice that his cables are all broken on the sleeves right there. And if you guys remember, when I broke my sleeves on my cable in the blue all-wheel drive car in Bakersfield, the shifts were like super hyper extended. Damn, this thing was shot in there or something. You guys see that bulge? New filter and oil has been changed, and new filter and oil has been changed. Before I turn on the car to cycle the oil, I'm gonna build a return line for the fuel pressure regulator, because we're gonna be draining out the 87 gases out of here, and then we're probably gonna put that into my mom's car, and then we're gonna go get some fresh 91 for this car before I drive it to the dyno. All right, here is the first run. We're a little under half tank. The car just died off, and I think we're way past the E. Cluster is about 10 miles an hour off. On the cluster, I'm doing 80. But on the Speedo app, I'm doing 70. But even at 70 miles an hour, this car is not that loud, and I'm very stoked about it. Very bearable. This car idles so freaking low in the stop and go traffic. The car shut off, and I was rolling like 10 miles an hour and it wouldn't turn back on. So I had to like cut 2 lanes over to get into the shoulder to try to get the car to reset and turn back on. And man, that was scary. That was scary, but we're back. We're back. We're almost at the dyno. We're like 20 minutes out. Did I show you guys the gas when I left the house? It was just a little over half tank, and I just drove 75 freaking miles. It barely moved. That's freaking awesome. But I'm gonna pump before I get to the dyno, which is down the street. Oh yeah, boys, we made it. We made it. We out here. Hey, shout out to my boy Antoine for pulling up today too, though. You know what I'm saying? It's been a cool minute. I feel like this might be like a halfway point between me and you.
Yeah, good halfway point.
Yeah, it's like a good halfway point between me and you. This is like the only time I really get to see this guy. So, you know, we out here.
Figure it out though. We'll get it together.
Oh yeah, most def. Most def. So guys, I noticed on the wall here, Geif has a new, like, what is this made out of? Aluminum logo for the red zone on the wall. If you guys remember, this thing had a sticker on it for years, and this thing right here looks freaking sick. It's brushed too. Heck yeah. So guys, we made it to the shop, and the car is up on the dyno right now getting strapped down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be doing the 1000cc injector. Shout out to Hunter Tune, because we have this plug and play adapter, so I don't have to snip any wires. And we're going to also install the map sensor, because we already have it. It's a 4-bar. And we're gonna do the spark plug a little bit later, but I am gonna gap them down to 22 just to have them on standby. And other than that, I mean, Gucci potatoes, man. The car drove here, and definitely gonna have to adjust the idle a little bit so it doesn't drop, like shut off the car when I'm clutching it down for stop and go traffic. Enough talking, let's get to it. All right, guys, so we have the injectors taken off the fuel rail, and we're gonna be running the budget 1000s. The budget 1000s are the taller ones right here, and the mid-grade ones, these new ones that Hunter just came out with, this is gonna be for the 88 service sedan, as I mentioned. So I'm gonna take out the dead times right here, because shout out to Hunter. All of these injectors, they get flow tested and cleaned before it goes out to you guys, and every one of these injectors have their own like specs and like, you know, how these flow before they go out to you. So seems like everything is within each other, and I'm gonna leave that inside the car for Guy, because he's gonna have to dial that to the map with the 4-bar map sensor. So the shorties are gonna go back into the bag with the top hats right here, and we're gonna be using these shorty adapters, which eliminates a bunch of extra wiring. These little just clip on top of the injectors, and harness just plugs on top of that. So let's go ahead and get this thing installed into the fuel rail. So this is how you lube up these O-rings to get them onto the fuel rail, right? I can taste Hunter's fingers on these. Hunter also has these in stock on his website. Literally plug and play, right? Yes, sir. All clipped in, all injectors installed. Honda 4-bar map sensor, although we are only on a 7-pound spring because I took out the 5. If you guys need Honda products, man, Nomis Industries have these in stock as well too. So this one is as simple as one plug, and it looks like an 8mm 4-bar map sensor installed. Now we just gotta wait for Guy to build a map for the thousands and the 4-bar map sensor, and we're gonna get this thing cracking in a moment here. So what the car was doing was, when it got into like 4,000 RPMs, the car was hitting like a 4,200. It was doing like a AK-47 two-step sounding thingamabob, and we were like, damn, trying to figure out what was going on. The ECU wasn't data logging. There's a bunch of little stuff going on, and then we took out the spark plugs just to check it out, and yeah. These aren't the plugs you're supposed to run with a turbo setup, but we just wanted to run it just for the baseline pull. So we just swapped these out to the NGK2668, got that 22, and let's see if it changes the drivability. So we've been trying to figure out this like hiccup issue. Let me see if I can try to pick it up for you guys. Okay, it sounded a little bit better. Earlier at 4,002-ish, it was doing some crazy AK-47 action. And what was going on is that like the VTEC coming in, you know, the factory, wherever it was set at, and then the GT35 pulling all the air in. This is an EP3 motor with the 2 lobes, so the motor is like congested with a lot of air, and it was like having a hard time coming out. So Guy dropped the VTEC down to like 38, and it finally able to rev out, but now it's starting to do that at a higher RPM. So Guy and Nomis has been trying to figure out what's going on with it and try to get this thing dialed in a little bit. The car is only making 3.7 pounds, and I had a 7-pound spring in here. And what we're thinking is that the car is having some sort of back pressure issue. So Guy told me to put the second spring in it to make it the 12-pound that we originally had it at, to see if more boost can force out that back pressure, whatever the car is currently doing. It didn't make a bunch of power. It made like It made like 187. So we're just like ironing everything out right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing back on. You know, shout out to Turbo Smart, because it's as simple as this locking collar right here versus all the little screws like some of the other brands you guys have seen before. So right now I just need a second pair of hands to kind of push down the 12-pound to lock the sucker back on, and we should be ready to rock and roll. Okay, we were supposed to put the 12-pound spring in it, but the box had a single blue spring which was thicker, so Guy told me to just put the blue one in it. We'll see what it does. Okay, so that spring did 7 pounds. It made 234. It's definitely moving somewhere, but that's odd that it only made 7 pounds. So I don't know if that's like a back pressure problem or... Look at this, guys. Sky blue spring for the Hyper 45 gate is a 14 pound, but it only made 7. Interesting. Okay, see the squiggly line at the back right here? We're thinking that this has something to do with like possibly valve floating right here, because this is an EP3 engine that only has, you know, the 2 lobes, so it's not relieving. And we're still thinking this thing has a lot of back pressure issue, because we put a 7 pound spring in here and it only made 3.4, and then we put a 1 bar 14 pound spring, and on that pull it only made 7. So they're explaining to me the ratio of, like, you know, the pressure, because this manifold has wastegate priority for the turbo setup. So let me show you guys real quick. So this manifold has wastegate priority. It's a log style that goes all the way across straight to the wastegate before it goes up into the turbo. And we're thinking that all the pressure is going directly to the gate and opening it up before entering the turbo. So that's why you know, the 7 pound spring is doing 3, and then, you know, the 14 pound is doing 7. So at 234, it's kind of where it's sitting at. He is going to kind of mess with it a little bit more, see if we can squeeze a little bit more out of it. But he was saying that if we want to make a little bit more out of it, we got to double up the spring. You know, we got to double up the spring to make half of whatever combo we put into it. So I don't want to go that far, because, like, say what if it spikes when it's driving on the street or whatever, and then goes into like full boost or full spring. But guys, I think this is an
A3 problem.
This is a A3 EP3
EP3 problem.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that the engine mechanically having this issue here is what's causing all of the boost issues we're having with that over there. So Chad is not an A3 problem. So guys, this is where we're gonna stop it at 240, 206, and I'm gonna explain to you guys why we decided to stop it right here. K20a3 EP3, guys. Golly. So right now, before we pull this thing off the dyno, I am going to be switching the O2 sensor to the downpipe, and Gaith is going to do the drivability on it, and then we're going to pop it off for the next car to go up for the night.
Man, that's cool, bro.
Chill out. Smells good on that Dino. Boy. Guess who's back? Let's go. Hey, first goal. First goal is 500, right?
Yeah.
First goal is 500. And then we're gonna leave it up to Guy to see how the car feels, to see if we can go a little further. I want to make sure when I leave tonight, I'll bring my tripod with me. But Guy has been working his magic on Danny Dukes' EG hatch, and he's just been dialing in the map a little bit, making adjustments. So far, 325, 254, but you know, that's just the start of it. So I'll set up my tripod. That sounded good. That sounded good. It made 3, I can't read it. What was that?
That pull made 366.
366. Guys, that shit's going to the moon. Guys, I was too excited on the pull before that one, and it made 518 before, and then this pull just made 515. Sorry, 518. This one made 515. I don't know what I just said, but 518, 515 is what it made right now, and it's going, man. It wants to go to the moon because it was standing up, but this thing has a stock dampener on it, so we're definitely keeping the RPMs down. We don't want that to go running. Good Lord. Thank you for everything. Antoine, thank you for pulling through today. The homie Nomis, first one out. There he goes. It's like 3 in the morning and I got about 80 miles to get home. I wanted to wait till the next day to cap out this dyno video, guys, and I want to talk about a few things before you guys go ape shit in the comment section. Now, mind you guys, this EK coupe came to me with a K20a3 EP3 engine, and this is like the bottom of the chain, I feel like. The K20a3 only makes 160 horsepower at 6,500 RPM according to El Google behind you guys, and not really sought out for a boosted setup, but there have been people who boost a K20a3 EP3/RSX engine and made some decent powers with it. But our goal with this car is to not make a heap of power, because if that was the case, we would have swapped the motor out to something that'll handle boost much better. Okay, a couple of goals with this car was obviously, one is to boost the car. We did just that. 2 is to make more than stock, and Guy tuned this car in 7 pounds. It made 240 horsepower with 206 foot-pounds of torque. 3 was to make sure this car returns back to the owner a running and driving car. And let me tell you guys, I drove this thing home last night and it drove freaking incredible. It drove like a regular car, and then when I wanted to get into boost, it definitely got into boost. Guy did finish tuning both cars at about 1 o'clock last night, but we kind of just hung out into the night, and I ended up getting home at about 4 o'clock in the morning. And I wouldn't have changed the way the day had went, because it was always a killer time hanging out with all the friends that don't gather as often as we should. I'm pretty sure I explained a little bit as we were going with the dyno pools with this car specifically, and both my tuner and the homie Nomis Industries came across a few new things to them that we've never came across before. And something about either this engine or the turbo setup is, I don't know, causing some like back pressure flow issue. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned it, but we had a 7-pound spring in this thing and it was only making 3.3 pounds of boost. We don't know why. So we then swapped the spring out to a 1 bar, which is 14 pounds, and it only made 7 pounds. So both springs, the engine turbo setup only produced half of that, and we're kind of thinking because it's an A3 too low, we feel like it doesn't relieve the air enough, which then creates back pressure. And because the Just Take Log top mount manifold has such a wastegate priority, we feel like all that back pressure is forcing out the gate first, because it goes straight into the gate before it goes up into the turbo. So Guy was saying this 2-to-1 ratio thing that it's happening is all the flow is going into the gate more than the turbo, creating the gate to open up, and only a little bit of that flow is getting to the turbo, which is why we're only getting half of the spring that we kept putting into the car. Now, we could have put a bigger spring to try to shoot for a higher PSI goal, whatever the half it would have been, but I feel like I didn't want to push it anymore, because again, I want to be able to return the car to the owner and he can at least enjoy the setup before turning it up, changing the engine, whatever he decides he wants to do later down the road. So we just capped it at 7 pounds. Guy did all he could at 7 pounds to keep it, you know, still a fun, achievable horsepower, and 240. If you guys saw the pull that I did, dude, it feels really freaking good. And granted, you know, this is probably the owner's first turbo Honda setup, I want to say, and this is definitely going to be new to him. So I want him to enjoy this setup the way it is. And he texted me this morning talking about finding a new engine and turning it up, whatever. I told him, look, just enjoy it first before we do a little more work to it, guys. So before you go ape shit in the comment section, man, understand K20a3 EP3, it's not the sought out engine for a boosted setup, but if you want to have some fun with it, you can throw a turbo kit at it and make a little bit more power than what the stock rating is for it. This engine only revved out to 7,200 RPM. Mind you you, this thing has the balance shaft oil pump, which is not really practical, even though people have sent it before. We weren't chasing for power goals, so there was no point in revving it higher than that. And also we wanted to keep it on the reliable side, which is why we left it the way it was. At the end of the coupe's tune, Guy did do the drivability on it, and he spent a good amount on that to make sure that this thing is going to get some good MPG. And I can already tell you from the full tank of gas that we pumped before the dyno, all the pulls and what's left of it when I got back to the pad, it looks like it's going to be pumping out some good MPGs, because we still have over half tank, and I drove pretty far to the dyno, or in this case back home. That it.